Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Reform Will Fix It local election tour, live from Croydon. Now, please welcome political commentator and broadcaster Charlie Rowley.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, London! Now, I know it's a Saturday night, but you can do better than that. I said good evening, London! And welcome to Reform UK's local election tour 2026! Oh, yes, it's fantastic to be here in this beautiful theatre, and what a showstopper we've got for you tonight. See what I did there? Did you like that? Did you like that, sir? Thank you very much. Solitary applause. Tonight, we've got a fantastic lineup for you. We have your chairman, Dr. David Bull is here. He'll be speaking in a few moments' time, along with your mayoral London candidate, Layla Cunningham is in the building. And am I missing anyone, do you think? Any name? Any name? We hope so, I heard there. You've guessed it. It is the leader of Reform UK. Nigel Farage is in the building. Now, along with those great speeches, as they will be, tonight is all about you. The majority of people in this room are local residents who have come out for the first time. You might be Reform curious. You might never have been to a political event before. And we also have some candidates and members, and we'll be talking to those just momentarily. And I have to say, when it comes to the local residents, this is my favourite part of the show, audience participation. It's the moment everyone starts to relax. Now, here we go. I see Leopard here. What's your name, madam?
Sandra.
Sandra. Say hello, Sandra. We'll cut that. Sandra, why are you here this evening?
Because we need to change what's happening in our country. I love our country and it's going to pop.
Support for that. And you're local, Sandra? Are you from Croydon?
Born and bred in Croydon, but now I live in Eastbourne.
Eastbourne? I'm sorry?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I'm sorry?
I'm born and bred in Croydon, now I live in Eastbourne.
Oh, I heard. I'm just sorry. Gentleman here, obviously wearing a Reform UK shirt. Do I take it you're a fan?
Oh, I am indeed.
And why is that?
Like Sandra here, we just need Britain back again, I think.
Do we agree with that, folks? Yeah. There we go. Okay, thank you very much. Now I spotted more leopards down here. There's a running theme
Charlie.
tonight. Hello. Have we met before?
No, but I see you on TV a lot.
Oh, right. I wondered who was peeping through my net curtains.
You should be so lucky.
Very good. Take me to lunch first. Why are you here this evening?
Same as Sandra, really. We need hope.
And are you local? You're local?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, local.
And you feel things have gone completely the other direction, that there needs to be a huge change, pivot. And is Nigel your man, as it were? Hands off, Nigel, she's mine. You're a fan of Nigel Farage?
Yes.
Great, very good. And just over here, are you
Yes, I am together, yes. With,
you're together? And have you been to a political event before like this? Or?
No, not really, no. But I just tonight together with my friend to support it.
Great, there we are. Give it up for our two members of the public. We'll come down here. Here we go. Who can we find here? A lovely woman in bright blue here. Hello.
Hello there.
That's turquoise. That feels like the party colours for Reform UK.
It is, because I'm a candidate for Reform UK.
One of your candidates, ladies and gentlemen. So there's being a supporter, there's being curious, there's being a member of the party where you can just pay a bit of money to support them. But putting your head above the parapet as a candidate, why are you standing for Reform UK?
Well, to coin Lee's phrase, I want my country back, and I have a daughter, and I want my country to be a place for her to thrive. not how it's going now.
Very good. And what do you say to people when you say, look, I'm a candidate for Reform UK? How do you encourage other people to maybe take the journey that you have?
I think it just comes naturally to you. You sit there, you complain, you moan, you watch TV, you shout at the TV, and then one day you think, I need to get up and do something about this, because if I don't, I'm part of the problem.
You're very good. Thank you so much. If not you, then who, I suppose? Well, this is all going incredibly well. So far, so good, don't you think, ladies and gentlemen? We'll move along the front row. We've got more candidates here. Someone desperately avoiding eye contact with me there. Story of my life. But we'll come down to you two, if we may. Very good. You're wearing the Reform UK rosette. You a candidate?
I am standing for Coulsdon Town.
Coulsdon Town. Anyone in from Coulsdon? And similar question, really, to the previous speaker. Why put yourself forward as a candidate?
Well, it's not just the state of the nation, like other people have pointed out in the audience here, but because Croydon is in such a bad way. They're 1.5 billion in debt, and we need to get the uni parties out and get reform in and sort this out.
A lot of support in the room for that. I think that gentleman's supportive. We might see that in a second, sir. Now, we'll walk a bit further down the front row. Thank you so much for that. Hello. Shall we? I'm very well. Hello. How are you? It's all right. We're just live on a Saturday night television, folks. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Are you looking for a seat?
Yes, I am, but I'm also a candidate.
Oh, right. Okay.
Chelsea Riverside.
Very good. Anyone?
In Chelsea.
Oh, in Chelsea. Oh, right.
Chelsea Riverside. Yeah.
So you've made the journey down to Croydon
I
today?
haven't made the. This is the second time. I actually canvassed. I came down.
Well, we've only been here once.
No, but I came down to canvass.
I see. Oh, well, thank you very much.
Scott Holman.
Oh, great. Oh, well, there we are. Shout out to Scott. Thank you very much, my darling. Thank you. Are you sitting here? In which case, we'll go up here. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Big round of applause for all of our speakers here on the floor. Candidates. Now, this is the tricky bit where my crew have to walk backwards, which I can guarantee is not the direction of their career. Somebody's waving at me now, actually. If we just stop here. Hello, sir.
Hi, my name is Vijay. I'm a candidate from Hackbridge. Just to give you a heads up, we're going to win. And second thing is, 2023, I absolutely hated Nigel. Because whatever, I was not agree. And listening left, right, and center. So my advice to everyone, don't listen anyone, listen your heart. What he's doing, he's making Britain great again. So help him to make Britain great again.
Very good. Well, thank you for that introduction, sir. Nice flag there. Very good. Very good. Well, you've heard it there first. You've heard it from local members of the public. People have come from all over, actually, whether it's London or even Eastbourne, have made the journey this evening. These are members of the public, as I say, coming down to a political event for the first time. And you've got all of your candidates who I've no doubt you'll be seeing later on throughout the show. But if you don't think you can become a candidate, but you still want to support the party, if you think you can do anything to help, then you can become a member of Reform UK by going on the website, and here are all the details how to do it. Well, what a journey that was. Here I am, still in this brilliant hall, joined now by two brilliant guests that I'm going to have a quick conversation with. Please give a round of applause for Chris Rose and Vanessa Callow. Now, Vanessa, I know you've got a lot of fans in the hall this evening, so I met you the other day at a different rally, didn't I?
Yes, in Sussex.
Very good. So we'll come to you in a second. So, Chris, if I can start with you. You're a political commentator. You are from Birmingham, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? But you've come down to Croydon today. That's brilliant. But just tell us about your journey, as a political commentator, but your support for reform.
Well, the thing is, I used to support the Tories, but now I've came over to reform, and the reason for that is because the Tories let us down. In 2010, 2015, 2019 and 2024, I voted for lower immigration, but what we got was the opposite. We got higher immigration, and what I found to be frustrating was that the Tories are now saying the things that they want to fix in opposition, which they could have done in power. And then it became quite clear that the illegal migration thing was becoming a national emergency, and they could have left the ECHR, but they didn't. But now they're saying that they will leave the ECHR in opposition. And that kind of stuff just didn't resonate with me. I thought I'd rather just go to a genuine right-wing party, which is Reform, who are clear about their agenda, and I believe that they will do it. I think they have the determination to do it, and the backbone to do it, which these Tories didn't really have.
So leaving the ECHR, that was fundamental to you for joining Reform. Do people agree with that, leaving the ECHR? Good. And as I say, but you're in Croydon today, originally from Birmingham, as I say. How is it different or the same in terms of the issues that you're facing in Birmingham that could be facing Croydon? So why is there a national move, it seems, towards reform? What are the things that bind the two together?
I'd say, I mean, I'm only in my mid-30s, and I can already see the decline that's happened in parts of Birmingham that are similar to London. Like, for example, when I was a child, if a young child was stabbed, it would be national news for at least 2 weeks. But nowadays, if a young child gets stabbed, it's like in the news for about a day or two. And then we move on to the next thing. And I think that's not right. That shows a decline in standards. We see a rise in crime as well, which has happened in Croydon and in Birmingham. And that's why I think people want to see reform get in, because we don't really recognise the country that it used to be. And I think it can be better, and I think reform will make it better. I think it's down to the people who have built reform from the ground upwards to now. And it's also the hard-working activists on the ground. Many of them are in this room as well. So I think together we will make Bitton great again.
What do we think of that, folks? Well, the crowd certainly seemed to be on side with you there, Chris. Vanessa, hello.
Yes, hi.
Now, we talked about Chris's journey, obviously from Birmingham to Croydon. You've had a bit of a further journey, haven't you?
Yes.
Tell us all about that.
I'm Vanessa, and I've been living in Croydon more than 20 years now, and I have two beautiful children who were born in Mayday Hospital. And for me, 20 years before, Croydon was really, really a good place to live, but it's still a good place, but need to be fixed. So the first thing that need to do is like cleaning the street, and then our constituency deserve a government that can be fixing housing, can be fixing work, and I believe that Reform UK can do that.
What do we think about that? And you are actually standing as a local candidate, aren't you?
Yes, I stand today because I can't see the injustice that is happening by the actual government, Labour Party. My history is I'm a Shagoshan, and thank you.
Yes. And we've got support. There they are at the back there. Please give it up to the Shagosians.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So that is your journey, as you say. That's your journey.
Yes.
And obviously, one of the first things this Labour government did was surrender.
Yes. In late 1960 to 1970, the Labour Party forcibly remove British subjects, British people, out of their homeland. The British homeland, there's 60 islands that belong to Britain, belong to the people of Britain, that Keir Starmer now in 2026 want to give away a foreign country, plus using our taxpayer to pay a foreign country without any say what the people, like self-determination, what the people need to decide for their future. That is wrong.
And that's absolutely... You're absolutely right. And that, am I right in thinking, has sort of motivated you then to become a local candidate for Reform? You've signed up, you're obviously a member, you want to stand for Reform UK because the national government is getting it so wrong. Is that
exactly. To make a change, I need to stand up, because if I don't do it, who will do it? So I say thank you for Nigel Farage to stand up for the country, because the country needs protection. Everything is happening, as you say, there's 14 U-turn. Everything is happening. We need a strong leader, and that strong leader is Nigel Farage.
And just very quickly to you, Chris, as a political commentator, is that something that you're finding as well? The mood of the country is shifting. People just think, Britain is broken and Reform are the only ones to fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't think of anyone who actually likes the country at the moment and thinks, things are fine as the way they are. They're paying more in bills. They're seeing more crime on those streets. They're also being gaslighting, because when they say, we want illegal migration to be fixed, they're being called racist by parts of the media and by the Labour government as well. But unfortunately, if you're just 40 days away, or over 40 days away from the Labour Party being predicted to lose over 2,000 seats in the local elections, which would be fantastic. Yes. So, to make that absolutely possible, go out and vote Reform on May the 7th, and it will speed up Keir Starmer's demise, and it will be fantastic.
Well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen. The message loud and clear from the balcony here. Thank you to my wonderful guests, Chris Rose and Vanessa Kalu.
Thank you.
But now, ladies and gentlemen, we have for you someone who has been leading the charge to drive up the membership for Reform UK. He's been there from the very beginning. I think you know who I'm talking about. Please give a warm Croydon welcome to your chairman of Reform UK, Dr. David Ball.
Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Well, a very good evening to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Charlie. Look, I've been on the road for the last 9 months. I've seen 20,000 people across this great country of ours. And look, it doesn't matter where I go. I was in Liverpool. The Labour vote has completely collapsed. They went from 80% to 40%. Reform UK in Liverpool is now on over 30% and climbing, and that is pretty extraordinary. But I think the thing is that everyone can see Keir Starmer and this Labour government is the worst government of our lifetimes, and the whole lot need to be booted out of office tomorrow. Charlie, I have to say you've done an absolutely amazing job, hasn't he, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Rowley. Well, a very good evening to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the official launch of our London election campaign. I have to say, I'm so delighted to be here in Croydon because this is where my grandparents lived. My dad was born here in Croydon. He grew up here and he went to school here in Croydon. Now, the name Croydon actually comes from Croy, meaning crocus, and Denu, meaning valley. So this was originally Crocus Valley. Now, Croydon has the most incredible history. It actually dates back to Anglo-Saxon times. It was then mentioned in the Domesday Book of 1086. It expanded in the Middle Ages, and it has consistently reinvented itself. It then became a leisure destination, a horse racing centre, and its airport became the UK's main airport until it was superseded by Heathrow Airport. And Croydon then blossomed after the Second World War to become a finance, retail and commercial powerhouse. I think it really is a testament to the might of London. But under Sadiq Khan, London has been seriously let down. I would go so far as to say he has completely destroyed London. You know, I've lived in London for something like 40 years. I no longer recognise this great city. Last year, crime showed that it was utterly out of control. Shoplifting in London cost over £200 million. Knife crime has rocketed by 67% last year. 116,000 mobile phones were stolen last year, and a rape is reported every single hour in London. And here is the utter insanity behind Sadiq Khan and his mayoralty. He spent more on net zero last year than he did on policing, and that is outrageous and it is unacceptable. Now, fare evasion on public transport in London is totally out of control as well. Last year, this cost Londoners £190 million. To put that into perspective, that money would fund over 3,000 police officers, which I think you will agree we desperately need. And London has also ground to a halt. London is now Europe's slowest major city, 5 years running. And Sadiq Khan's war on motorists is never ending. I think it's also fair to say that across the board, Sadiq Khan's record is appalling and intolerable, and it is time that he and the whole crony lot are booted out of office. And our mission to chuck Khan out starts right now. This may be the official launch of our campaign in London, but we have been taking our local election roadshow around the country. We have seen over 12,000 people over the last 3 weeks. I can tell you, we have had extraordinary, incredible receptions in the Isle of Wight, in Basingstoke, in Swindon, in Milton Keynes, in Thurrock, in Ipswich, my home county, Leeds, Sussex, and in Sunderland. And it is worth remembering that Reform UK is only 5 years old, and our journey has been nothing short of remarkable. And just to reinforce that message, the facts speak for themselves. We are the fastest growing political party in this country. We are now the largest political party in this country. And since I've been chairman, we have gained 5,000 new members every single month of my tenure. We have also now got 8 members of parliament. I count them every morning to see how many I have, and we are not stopping there. And we have also led the last 250 opinion polls. And let me just tell you, because I looked at them today, the latest opinion polls have us on course to win a thumping parliamentary majority at the next general election, putting us into government. And there's some very good news, because it means we will kick out big Labour figures. We will say goodbye to Rachel Reeves. She is out. Angela Rayner, bye Angela, you're gone. My favourite, Mad Ed Miliband, you go. And the one that I really want out of office is Sadiq Khan. He also bites the dust. And I say, ladies and gentlemen, bring it on, don't you? So without further ado tonight, let's get cracking. Well, our first speaker tonight is a formidable woman who I have got to know extremely well. She burst onto the national political scene last year. She is a former barrister. She's a mum of seven, and a Reform UK councillor for Lancaster Gate in Westminster. She is now our London mayoral candidate. Now, before we meet her tonight, let's see her in action.
I'm Layla Cunningham, and I'm the Reform candidate for London Mayor. I love this city. I love it with all my heart. I had my children here. I'm raising them here. I started my career here. London is my home. And unlike some in the media, I do recognise that London is no longer safe. How can it be when we have a mayor who's actively deprioritised public safety? So many Londoners who just don't feel that the police have their back anymore. And I want to change that. I want everyone to feel safe because there is a freedom to feeling safe. I don't feel people have that freedom now. People forget actually that it's the first duty of any government, of the mayor, to keep them safe. You know, he is the police and crime commissioner. He sets the direction, he sets the priorities, and he's let us down. There has to be a systemic shift in the Met and their priorities. We have to go back to basic policing. You call 999, someone's going to come, and that crime will be investigated. There has been a shift where we're policing people's thoughts and not policing people's violent actions, and that's got to stop. London is not Sadiq Khan's playground. He's not going to take it for granted anymore because Londoners have woken up, and I think the next election will not be about Labour or Conservative. People will purely vote for the safety of their family, the safety of their children. Sadiq Khan's priorities was never London. His priorities were Sadiq Khan. I won't need a passport to be a mayor. I won't be jetting off to different trips. I'll be right here every day, making sure that Londoners have the best city in the world.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Layla Cunningham.
Look at this room, guys. This is London. Every story, every background, and every person in this room has said enough is enough. A better London is finally possible. I'm Layla Cunningham. I'm your mayoral candidate for 2028. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we launch the fight for May 7th. Now, for most of our history, the answer for government was clear. It did a job. It kept order. It upheld the law. It got out of the way. And people kind of understood their side of the deal. Nobody wanted to be managed. We didn't want to be told how to think, how to speak, how to live, and recently, how to commute. We just want freedom to build something, to work, to raise a family, to get on. And listen, I know that not as a theory, but from my own life. I didn't grow up in elite circles. I grew up in Kilburn. I didn't go through the conveyor belt, the right schools, the Oxford, the universities. I wasn't married to some ex-minister. I worked, I hustled. And I genuinely believe, and that's what reform does, is that you reap what you sow. I am the daughter of immigrants who chose this country, not for what it could give them for free, but what it allowed them to build. They came to Britain because Britain stood for freedom, fairness, and opportunity. The rule of law applied equally to everyone. And when you grow up as I did, really feeling and seeing what this country represents, you never ever take it for granted. You fight for it. And that's why I'm standing here. That's why I'm standing, and that's why I will never, ever apologize for loving this country above everything else. The haters, you all know who they are, seeing us rise in the polls, fear us threatening their stranglehold over London. Some of them are outside. Call us a racist. Now, let's be clear, London. It's not racist to love your country. It's not racist to defend your way of life. That, ladies and gents, is called patriotism, and that's what this movement is about. And I was either Starmer or Wes Streeting or one of the people who are about to lose their job, says reform is an existential threat. And listen, they are right. We are an existential threat to their careers, their party, and the cozy consensus that has failed this city. Now, I'm going to tell you something, and I've been around all of London and I've met so many of you. Reform support comes from every community in London and in Britain. Black, Asian, white, working class, self-employed, ex-Labour voters, former Conservatives, some still wavering, God knows why. People, and more importantly, people who had never voted before in their lives until Nigel Farage gave them a reason. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a racist movement. This is a national movement to take our country back. Now, back to my original thought about this speech, and I was wondering who serves who in London? Is it the government that serves us, or are we working to serve the government? Because I know that so many Londoners feel the city no longer works for them. I know I do. People feel it in all sorts of ways. They feel it when they look at the cost of living in the city and wonder exactly what are we paying for. They feel it when they're stuck in traffic due to LTNs because somebody somewhere has decided they know better than residents how local roads should work. They feel it when they see theft, disorder and antisocial behaviour treated as background noise, something to be managed rather than stopped. They feel it when their children grow up in London, are educated in London, work in London, but when it comes to that amazing time when they want to buy a home, they're told, you know what, London's too expensive for you. You can no longer stay. That, to my mind, is one of the clearest political failures. What sort of city raises its children, invests in them, asks their parents to work and sacrifice for them, and then says to them at the point they want a home, a family, a future, sorry, off you go. You can no longer afford to live here. What sort of leadership presides over that and calls it a success? Because let's face it, we are no longer a city for the ordinary working London who simply wants somewhere decent to live, somewhere safe to raise children, and some hope that work will actually lead to security. See, home ownership used to be part of the basic promise of this country. Not a guarantee, sadly, because nothing comes with a guarantee, apart from taxes, but it was an aspiration. Depends how high, of course, but an aspiration within reach. You work hard, you save, you make sensible decisions, a bit less avocado toast, and perhaps one day you could buy a place of your own. It was one of the things that tied people to their country, their area, to the future of the country. It gave people independence from the state. It gave families something to build on, to pass down. Now look at London. We have created a city in which owning a home has become a fantasy for huge numbers of young people. A city where rent swallows more than half your salary. A city in which people in their 30s and even 40s will never own a home. They are being locked out because London has been governed by a political class more interested in gestures than results. More interested in boasting about regulations on house builders, regulations that stall and in some cases stop development altogether, rather than boasting whether an ordinary Londoner can afford a home of their own. And while they choke off supply, guess what else they do? They pile on demand. Because London's housing crisis and Britain's immigration crisis are not two separate subjects. They are tied together by the same refusal to tell the truth. You cannot have a city with severe housing shortages, vast waiting lists, soaring rents, collapsing affordability, and then pretend that importing more demand has nothing to do with it. Of course it does. We all see it. See, I'm not sure if any of you know that, and I'm not even sure if the public knows, but more than half of London's boroughs have now declared themselves sanctuary boroughs for refugees. Not our children, not our veterans, not even for Londoners, but for people who potentially arrived illegally on a boat. We are the only party in London who say it's a disgrace, and the only party calling it out, and the only party in London that will always prioritise veterans and London's first. Because really, I mean, you think about it, how can a city thrive if those that have contributed all their lives are made to feel like they come last in their own home? How? See, the problem is that for years London has been governed by people who have just literally sold out ordinary Londoners. Bureaucrats who never seem to bear the consequences of their own ideas. They're loyal to the causes that flatter them, not the people who put them in office, while the public is left with the bill, the crime, the congestion, and the decline. And it's not just visible in housing, it runs through how this city is governed. Let's take LTNs, the bane of my life. Nobody wanted them. Why would you? I mean, roads are blocked, traffic's pushed elsewhere, congestion increases on surrounding routes, small businesses suffered, tradesmen, carers, parents. Who the hell wants them? But as Sadiq Khan recently said, by the way, and this was in relation to the pedestrianisation of Oxford Street, and I quote, "Residents shouldn't dictate what happens on their streets." Like the rest of London politicians, he believes we answer to them. And in Croydon, any Croydon residents here, put your hands up, cheer, yay! You guys know what it is like to be fined and fleeced millions for illegal LTNs imposed to pay for Jason Perry, the Conservative mayor, and the council's failures. And that is the point, really. Too much of what passes for policy in London is just a system for extracting money from ordinary people while disguising failure as virtue. You see it with LTNs, you see it with ULEZ, you see it with endless charges, restrictions, penalties, permissions, forms, and at every single point, the law-abiding person pays. The person just trying to get on pays. The person trying to work pays. The family trying to keep a car on the road pays. It's a joke. Meanwhile, the disorder that generally makes life intolerable in the city is waved away, excused, deprioritized, or just ignored. We are governed by a political class that thinks every single problem can be solved by constraining the public a little further. So let me be absolutely clear, London. The car is not the enemy. We will never, ever treat motorists as cash machines. And we're not going to pretend that making life harder for ordinary people is somehow the mark of an enlightened, compassionate government. And I'll tell you this, and I know you all feel it. For too long, I feel London has been carved up. A Labour fiefdom here, a Green bloc there, a Workers' Party enclave somewhere else. Nobody governing a whole city. Nobody speaking to all of it. And now you see it. Politics has fractured. It's not along left or right anymore, but along ethnic and religious lines. Communities being auctioned off to whichever party promises them most. We've all watched politicians campaign in foreign languages and call it inclusion. It's not, it's the opposite. They are telling people, we do not expect you to participate in British civic life. Just vote as a bloc on the instruction of community gatekeepers in exchange for some meaningless gesture. How did we get to this? How the hell did we get to this? Well, 30 years of mass immigration with no integration policy, no English language requirement, no civic expectation, and no honest conversation. Labour has built this city on separate tribes and they call it diversity. That is not diversity, that is control. Divide and conquer. And by the way, the same people calling us racist, those outside, are the same people who have spent 30 years treating ethnic minority communities as voting blocs to be managed, not citizens to be served. A country is not held together by empty slogans about diversity is our strength. It is held together by shared habits, shared loyalties, a common language of citizenship, and the feeling that however different our backgrounds may be, we belong to one public life, one city, one nation, Great Britain. And I feel, as a Londoner, I feel that's been one of the greatest failures of London politics. The governing class talk endlessly about inclusion while presiding over division. It denounces anyone who raises concerns as intolerant, even as they are actually entrenching that very division that makes common life harder. They are the ones who have fostered dependency on the state to keep communities politically captive. And that is why this election matters. Because I know you, like me, I do not accept the natural condition of London as dirtier streets, weaker policing, unaffordable homes, punishing transport policy, endless bureaucracy, and a political class that speaks to the public, frankly, with contempt. I do not accept that our children should have to leave the city they grew up in because people running it have made ordinary life, frankly, impossible. I do not accept that patriotism is something to be apologized for, or that wanting fairness on housing, order on the streets, and honesty about immigration makes anybody racist. What I believe, which I hope you believe too, is that this city should be safe enough for people to live without fear. It should be affordable enough for working people to put down roots, buy a home, raise children, and plan for a great future. It should be free enough that ordinary lawful people are not endlessly punished for the failures of those in charge. See, for me, freedom means something very simple. It means the citizen who obeys the law is left in peace to live his life. Just leave me alone. It means he is not treated as a revenue source or an object to be managed, guided, or controlled. The person who works, pays taxes, obeys the law, and tries to do the right thing, frankly, should not always be the one footing the bill. Yet that is what is happening in London now. The law-abiding motorist pays, the shopkeeper pays, the commuter pays, the family pays, and all the while, the disorder, the incompetence, and the waste. I mean, just to put that in perspective, Hammersmith Council in the past decade spent 600,000 on consultants and couldn't find 10,000 to fix a bridge. And so it's that waste that actually makes this city harder, and that goes unpunished. Let's put it into perspective. Crime is tolerated in this city, if not accepted. Policing is weak, and disorder spreads, and it's the decent people like you and I who pay with their safety. And it's not all about money, we pay with our peace of mind. That's not freedom. That's not a government serving the people, that is a government shifting its failures onto us. And the longer it goes on, the more decent, productive, law-abiding citizens is treated not as someone to protect, but as someone to exploit. That's what's happening in London. So yes, on May 7th, we are fighting for something way larger than a mayoralty. We are fighting for the principle that this city belongs to its citizens. It belongs to us. And that this government, this Labour government, Conservative government, Sadiq Khan, they shouldn't exploit us. They need to learn how to serve us. You know, I do think that law-abiding citizens, frankly, should come first. I do think that home ownership should, once again, be an aspiration within reach, not something that 30 and 40-year-olds joke about. I believe that raising children in London should not mean eventually preparing them to leave it. I want them right here next to me, all my 7. It's a lot of housing. Councils, you see, and this is what the message I sent to London on May 7th, should exist to serve residents. Not activists, not lobbyists, not schemes cooked up behind closed doors. And that's what Reform is standing for. And a message to the people of this city from every background. This city is yours. And if you vote Reform, you are voting for it to be governed in your interests again. That's what I'm standing for. We are offering something simple, and I guess something quite radical now. Imagine that, a government that serves the people. It's quite mental. I'm standing because actually, and I'll end on a personal note, you know, I'm standing because I owe this city something. London gave me my family opportunity. It gave me an education in life, in work, in duty. I was a senior Crown prosecutor here, and I don't want that inheritance to be squandered. I will not stand by while ordinary Londoners are priced out, pushed back and talked down and ignored. I will not stand by while a failed political class tell us that decline is inevitable and disorder is tolerance and unfairness is compassion. It is none of those, it is failure. And on May 7th, by voting Reform, we are saying enough. We can send a message to the city, a message that London will never ever forget. Say it with me, folks. London belongs to Londoners. London belongs to Reform. I look forward to campaigning with all of you all over London. I've met so many of you, and honestly, it's been the honor of my life because I have never in my life met people who are so dedicated to public service, dedicated to making a city better. And I was speaking to a colleague in the back, and I said, Everyone I meet in reform is fighting for something, you know? And I was saying, you know, it's not easy. We've got, you know, over 1,800 candidates in London, and it's not easy to manage, you know, concerns of everyone. And I think it's not easy to manage because every person who's a member of Reform is not a sheep. You know, you all have conviction, you all are here to do the right thing, and I salute you because we're all fighting together for a better change, for a better country, and we're all fighting for the best Prime Minister we could have, and that's Nigel. I'll see you all later. Bye.
Layla, thank you so much. Well, tonight we are delighted to unveil Reform UK's mayoral candidate for Croydon. He is a local lad. He was born and grew up in Croydon. He's an economics teacher in a local school. Ladies and gentlemen, as chairman, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Ben Fluke.
Croydon, we are at a crossroads. We remember how Croydon used to be a proud place to live. A place where if you worked hard and you did the right thing, you could build a life for your family. But look at the state of Croydon now. The council, bankrupt, not just once, not just twice, but 3 times. Our town centre, with empty shops and litter and graffiti everywhere. And families who struggle to send their children to local schools, who find it hard to get GP appointments, and who face long waits to access social housing despite having paid into the system for decades. And our streets. Women who say that they're afraid to walk home at night. Elderly who are worried about being burgled. And our young people. A student told me that he has to avoid certain routes because he's worried about being stabbed. Ladies and gentlemen, Croydon is not just struggling. Croydon is broken and Croydon needs reform. So I stand before you today not just as your mayoral candidate, but also as a local lad, born and raised in Kenley, attended the Hayes Primary School and then Wilson's in Sutton. And after that, I went to the University of Cambridge, the first in my immediate family to go to university. And then, I didn't chase a career miles away. I chose to come back to be with the community that raised me. I wanted to teach in our local schools so I could look in the eyes of our students and tell them, you can succeed. But here's the problem. That is becoming harder and harder to say with conviction with every single day that passes. Because our system is broken. It's broken. I look at the students that I teach, and I see their futures being taken away from them by a failed political class. Things just can't carry on as they are. We need to do things differently this time. But to do that, we need something that is genuinely different. That's why, after almost 15 years, I decided to leave the Conservative Party because I concluded that I could not forgive their record in office for the last 14 years. Not just the highest peacetime taxes or record levels of immigration. The list of failure goes on and on and on. That's why I'm proud to stand for Reform UK and with Nigel Farage. Because as Nigel himself has said, it's not now about left and right, it's about what is right and what is wrong. And we know what's happened in Croydon is so very, very wrong. It's wrong that our political leaders have failed us. It is wrong that we've been told to accept decline. But with reform, we have to accept decline no longer. So let me finish with this. We have a chance in May to change our towns and our cities, and Croydon can be at the epicentre of that. But to do that, we have to work together. We can turn Croydon around. We can regenerate our town centre and attract new business investment. We can cut crime. We can protect the character of our area by saving our green spaces. And we can fix our finances by building on the excellent work of our reform councils across the country that have saved £700 million. So I need your help. I need you to get out there and campaign with us, knocking on doors, delivering leaflets, talking to your friends, to your family, to your colleagues. Because this is our chance to change not just Croydon, but also the country. And friends, Croydon is broken. Only reform can fix it. Thank you.
Ben, thank you so much. Well, I mentioned at the beginning of tonight, we have 8 members of Parliament. Now, our next speaker is one of those excellent 8. He's actually been the Member of Parliament for Romford in Essex for some 25 years. He was first elected in 2001. He has fearlessly stood on the side of common sense. He is a proud Brexiteer and an even prouder unionist. In many ways, I suppose, he is a man who exhibited reform values before Reform UK even existed. It is my great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome Andrew Rossendale, Member of Parliament.
Thank you, David, and good evening, Croydon. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it's a long way to come to Croydon from Essex. I am from Romford, the other side of Greater London, but I've come here tonight because you've just heard from the next Mayor of the London Borough of Croydon, Ben Fluke, and I back him to be your next Mayor of Croydon. What this borough needs, what London needs, is change. It needs reform. It needs something
different. Because, ladies and gentlemen, both Labour and Conservatives have let this country down. And there's no one that's let Britain down more than the current Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Frankly, we haven't had a good Prime Minister for a number of years. They've all let the country down, and that's why at the next election, the person we want in number 10 is Nigel Farage. But there's a job to be done before that. There's a few hurdles to get over before we get to that point. The first hurdle is to win those London elections on the 7th of May. And I know that many of you are standing as Reform UK candidates in those elections. You have to win. You have to win for your local towns and communities and boroughs. You have to win for London. London is broken under Sadiq Khan. That man has destroyed our capital. He's made us less safe. He's costing us a huge sum of money through the precept that we all pay. No matter what part of Greater London we're in, whether we're in Croydon or Romford, whether we're in Bromley or Ruislip, we pay vast sums of money for the bureaucracy of City Hall. And so, on the 7th of May, that is your chance, our chance, London's chance, to make it a referendum on the Mayor of London, Sir Sadiq Khan. A vote for Reform UK is a vote to reject Sadiq Khan as Mayor of London and to vote for change. Change for the better. Change that's going to put our country and our capital in a stronger position. And I want all of you to be elected in your town halls. I want to see Reform UK administrations elected in as many London boroughs as possible. And I make you this challenge. When you take control of your council, the first thing you do to show where you stand, to show what you believe in, to show you love your country, is to raise that flag above your town hall. We are part of Reform UK because, first and foremost, we love our country. That is why we're in politics. So, no more woke flags. None of those. No more of those. The only flags we will fly will be the flag of the United Kingdom, the Union Jack. The Cross of St. George for England. And of course, our historic county flags. Of course, Croydon is part of the historic county of Surrey, just as Romford is Essex. So let's be proud of our heritage, our customs, and our traditions. And as we approach the Easter period, let's also be proud of our Christian heritage. Nothing wrong in that. Our laws, our customs, our traditions, our foundations are based on that. And to discard them and to let others ruin what is British, what is English, and what our forebears have fought to defend and have cherished and handed to us, to let that be dissipated and ruined by socialism, by left-wing political parties that are deeply unpatriotic. We have a mission, ladies and gentlemen, to rescue this country from those people. And we're going to do it. Mark my words, we're going to do it. On the 7th of May is the start. Win your council seat. Win your local town hall. And then, in 2 years' time, Layla Cunningham will be the new Mayor of London. And soon after that, we're going to have a new Prime Minister.
we're going to have a new government, and we're going to rescue our United Kingdom from the calamity of Labour and Keir Starmer. I am only in politics because I believe in Britain. This party, Reform UK, only exists because we, ladies and gentlemen, love our country. When Nigel Farage becomes our Prime Minister in 2 to 3 years' time, he will be the Prime Minister that will put our country first. We have to make it happen. We have to. It's our duty. It's our patriotic duty to ensure that we rid this country of the Labour Party and restore a proud government, a patriotic government and a Prime Minister that will always stand up for Britain, put our country first, look after the British people and uphold the great and proud traditions that our forebears fought so hard to defend. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for all that you're going to do to rescue our country, to rescue our country, to rescue London, and to elect Ben Fluke as your Mayor of Croydon. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
He is absolutely brilliant, isn't he, Andrew? Thank you so much. Well, that brings us nicely to our final speaker. Who could that possibly be, I wonder? Well, he is a man not afraid of a political fight. He took on NatWest and he won. He then took on YouGov and he won. And let me tell you, at the next general election, he will take on the establishment and he will become the next British Prime Minister. Before we meet him, let's see him in action.
We are all ships rising on a turquoise tide, headed towards winning the next general election. This government is deep in crisis. They are not fit to govern. The Conservative Party are riven. There is a new, strong, unified party, the party that stands up for decent, working people, and we are the party on the rise. The energy has been unbelievable. The enthusiasm has been extraordinary. You are the People's Army.
Reform is now in government. And the big shout-out message, and it's very, very clear, is if you vote Reform, you get Reform. And when it comes to country, of what a nation is, this is where I do personally want to confront the Prime Minister head on.
No one cares more about the state of this country than I do.
There is nobody more determined than me.
But I tell you what, folks, that was just the beginning. Thank you very much indeed.
The leader of Reform UK, Nigel Farage.
Good evening, Croydon! And good evening, London. And we're here in Croydon at the launch of our London election campaign. All 32 boroughs, I was going to say in this great city, but maybe I should say in our once great city. Sadly, but it's true, isn't it? We're in trouble. Our capital city is in trouble. Can you imagine, in the most fashionable parts of central London, men now don't wear... Oh, we got a screamer! We got a screamer! Way! Boring! 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 Oh, it's... Boring! Well, that was fun, wasn't it? And do you know what I'd say to that young man? Do you know what I'd say? I'd say this. What other party leader in modern Britain would have a public event in the Fairfield Halls in Croydon and invite anyone to come along and listen to what I have to say? And you know what? You can agree, you can disagree, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Who else would come along and do that? Listen, mate, you'll have a coronary. You'll have a coronary. Do you know, I'd pay to watch this. And that is what well, as I always say, boring, boring, boring. But there's something fundamentally wrong with that behaviour. Because what we're doing here is having free, open, democratic debate. And the vast majority of you here in this room this evening have never been to a reform event. You've made up made your minds up, but you've come along because you're curious, you're interested. I repeat the point. What other party leader dares to go out and confront the public? I do. Now, this is not my first appearance on the stage at the Fairfield Halls. I've been here before, but it was 1975 in a choir. So there you are. So I was wondering whether I should sing this evening. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But we are here at the launch of our London campaign. And I worry about a capital city in which men can't wear watches, women can't wear jewellery, where crime is rampant, out of control, and now so serious that people don't even bother, in many cases, to report it. Mobile phone theft. Well, of course, it happened to... Don't you believe him? No, nor do I. But we all know what's going on in our capital city. And if there was ever an example, because our national slogan is Britain is broken, Britain needs reform. But if London is broken, maybe in terms of local government, the most broken of all is Croydon. Bankrupted by bad management, by bad local government. Do you know what? Not only can we do better, but we will do better than what Croydon's had and London's had before. And you know, despite the fact that it's about local elections and local government, it's about how much council tax you pay. And by the way, we won 10 councils outright in England last year, and I'm proud to say, 1 year on, our council tax rises are lower than those of all the other parties. We will keep your council tax down. And we will end excessive expenditure and madness like DEI policy. We don't believe in it. We believe in meritocracy. We believe regardless of who you are, where you're from, what age you are, what class, race, religion you are, we will judge you as an individual and not stick you into different categories. And we'll run our councils as we'll run the country if we get the chance to win the next general election. And we'll run them all respecting one fundamental and vital truth. And that is that everything about this country, everything about our culture, everything about our civilization, whilst it's based on tolerance for all, is underpinned by the Judeo-Christian principles that made our country what it is. So, of course, it's about local government. But you know what? Many people who vote in local elections actually vote on national political issues. This will become a referendum on the leadership of Sir Keir Starmer. Isn't he hopeless? I watched him. July the 5th, 2024, he just won the general election. He walked into Downing Street to give a 9-minute speech, but he kept looking down at his notes. In 9 minutes, he looked down at his notes 158 times. Like a pigeon in Trafalgar Square. I mean, he's scripted, he's told what to say, he's told what to think, and that's why this Wednesday, just gone, when I asked a very serious question in Parliament, about 1,000 people in the last week coming across the English Channel, young men, many of whom will pose a threat to women and girls in this country, some of whom will pose a threat to our national security because we haven't got a clue who they are. And he refused to answer my question, so I got up and I walked out of the House of Commons in total disgust. But he's got a new master plan. Oh, yeah. He's going to make Sir Sadiq Khan Lord Khan. Put him in the House of Lords. Well, you saw Layla earlier. Hasn't she got the spirit, the belief, the conviction to be a better mayor of London? And that all comes in a couple of years' time. But what happens on May the 7th is a stepping stone to getting rid of Starmer. A stepping stone to getting rid of the ghastly Sadiq Khan and getting London back on the right track. And just look at what he's done as Prime Minister. This is the most unpatriotic Prime Minister Britain has ever had in its lifetime. He continues to pursue endless legal actions against British servicemen for things that happened 30, 40, 50 years ago. He gives away British sovereign territory in the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, who've never had any right of claim over those islands historically whatsoever. In doing so, he threatens our relationship with America, and he betrays those poor Chagossian people who we treated so badly all those years ago. And I'm very proud to say that we as a party want to right that wrong. And I'm very pleased that in the audience tonight, we've got Chagossians. Where are you? There they are. Where are you? Bring us your flag. Come on, bring us your flag. Bring us your flag. Bring us, come on, bring me one of your flags. These people want to stay British. These people want the right to resettle their land. And these people have the most incredible flag I've ever seen. We will stand up for the Chagossian people, for what is right and decent. Okay, sorry. We got it. Give that back to the guys. But it's so typical of Starmer, isn't it? Human rights for everybody apart from these people. We will right that wrong. We will keep Chagos British, maintain our relationship with America, and give these people a future in their homeland. But what have we sunk to? What have we sunk to? Today, in the Telegraph, there was the obituary of 109-year-old Harry Waddingham, sunk twice in the war, once off Dunkirk and once in the Mediterranean, and survived and lived to 109. When we, as we've done for centuries, relied on sea power, we've always been a great maritime nation. It's been the source of our wealth, our influence, and our power. It now takes us 3 weeks and 1 day to send a single naval vessel to defend British sovereign territory in Cyprus. And the Prime Minister's proud of it. But after 14 years of the Conservatives running down our defences, a Labour government who promise they'll do something but do nothing because they're too busy upping welfare benefits, we've sunk, haven't we? We've sunk. We've sunk in terms of our own sense of pride and our standing in the world. We can't even have a sensible energy policy. Now, I can see Rachel Reeves blaming the Iran war for energy prices and all the rest of it. The fact is, we now import the vast majority of oil and gas still needed in this country from overseas at massively inflated cost. We have the highest industrial energy prices in the world because we've bowed down to the god of net zero. We alone will solve global warming by closing down the whole of British industry, by exporting millions of jobs to India, to China, to elsewhere, and then importing the goods back into our country. Have you ever heard of such a mad case of economic harry-carry as not producing our own
oil and gas. It is quite incredible, but it's not just the Labour government. It's not just Red Ed. It was Boris, wasn't it? Boris. We're going to become the Saudi Arabia of wind. All right, I'm not Rory Bremner, I get it. Both parties have pursued a lunatic policy that leaves us now in a position where if things go wrong in Iran, there will be energy rationing in our nation when we have an estimated 10 billion barrels of oil and gas. And reforms say, let's produce all the energy we need in our own country, give consumers cheaper prices, start reindustrializing our country, making the products we need, producing millions of good jobs and huge amounts of tax revenue. Let's be self-sufficient in our own nation. But we have to change the culture of Britain. The culture of Britain has to change. We have to start telling kids at school that hard work is the only route to success. There are no shortcuts in life. And, you know, work-life balance, all the rest, it sounds lovely. But we're now putting increasing millions onto benefits, people who in some cases are not well enough to work. Well, we'll support them, won't we? We will, as a civilized society, we'll support those that can't look after themselves. But I'm sorry, how can anybody go onto mental health disability, not have the option to work because they suffer from mild anxiety? I suffer from mild anxiety every morning when I wake up. And it's not fair on those that do work. And our voters, our supporters, are Alarm Clock Britain. Our people get up, go to work, pay their taxes, they're paying more and more and more, and what they're doing is supporting millions who opt not to work. We have picked a side, and we support working people, we support small businesses, we support sole traders, and that is the way forward for our country. The only way forward for our country. Now, some of this is tough stuff for others to get their heads round, because the consensus has been you can't say anything that upsets certain sections of the electorate. But I'm honest enough to know that Britain is going bust. I'm honest enough to know that our situation with law and order has never, ever been worse. I'm old enough to know that we're in moral decline, where the difference between right and wrong has frankly been lost. I mean, you can shoplift now. You pop down the Whitgift Centre, nick up to 200 quid's worth and not even get prosecuted. It's got to stop. We have to get back and return to common sense, decent values in our country. And you know, it's remarkable that we've sunk to these depths without anything happening. Well, you know what, folks? It is now happening. I, 20 months ago, made, I think, the most difficult decision of my life, which was to get back involved in active politics. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But it was a tough decision because life was pretty good. I was turning 60, first couple of grandkids on the way, settled, happy life, everything going well, good job at GB News. Well, it certainly wasn't the BBC, was it? Life was going well. And I knew that if I threw myself back into this, it would be the last big decision I ever made in my career, indeed probably in my life. But I did it because I simply couldn't believe that the benefits this country could have got from Brexit had frankly been squandered by a Conservative Party who never, ever believed in it. Never believed in it. Who opened up the doors after Brexit to 4.7 million new visa applications, of which only 20% were work permits. Millions of others who've come to Britain in the last few years will not work, ever, will live off the benefit system, and in too many cases not integrate into our society, or in some cases not even learn our language. That is what they did. That is what they did. And now we have a new danger in our country. Sectarianism, voting, and violence. On Monday night last week, an active terror cell in North London firebombed 4 ambulances paid for by the Jewish community. And what did Starmer say? He said, "My thoughts and sympathies are with the Jewish community." That, folks, just is not good enough. What he should have said is, we will hunt down the people who behave like this. We will end terrorism in our country. We will proscribe the Muslim Brotherhood and the Iranian IRGC as a legal organization. We will maintain the rule of law and decency in our country. He did none of those things. And now the left of politics is pandering to increased Islamic extremism to the cost of everybody. And we have to be resolute and firm. We have to say, we welcome everybody from all faiths and all religions and all cultures, as we as a country have always done, in a way that no other country in Europe has ever come close to. But if you come to live here, you can have your private observance. But if your mission is to change our way of life to your way of life, we will not put up with it, full stop. Because if we don't do that, within a few short years, this country would have ceased to exist as all of us know it. We will have betrayed not just those that made such massive sacrifice in the 20th century to defend our liberty, our freedom, our identity, and our culture, but we will literally be signing away the future of the generations to come. And it doesn't need to happen, and I'll tell you why. There is still in this country a big majority for common sense, a silent majority for decency, a silent majority that believes in a nation, a silent majority that believes in the rule of law. And what we have to do as Reform UK is to get that silent majority to speak. And do you know what will happen? If they speak, we will win. We will turn around the absolute disaster that has befallen us under 2 weak, gutless, useless political parties that are destroying our nation. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to give leadership to this movement. I'm here to give you a voice. I'm here to urge you to please all yourselves do your bit to stand up. This is 1940 all over again. The very existence of our nation, its culture, its identity is under threat.
And I'm going to do my damnedest to stand up and fight for it with everything I've got. We are building a big party. We've got the highest membership now of any party in the country. We've got great people coming forward, people prepared to make sacrifices. You've seen already our mayoral candidate for Croydon, our mayoral candidate for London. And sitting in these rows are men and women, most of whom have never been involved in politics before. So, it's all right, you're part of it, don't worry. And they've decided to put their heads up over the parapet. And I'd like to invite some of our candidates from Croydon and around to come and join me now on the stage. So you can have a look at them as an audience. Have a look at them as an audience and see what you think. Because I think they've got guts. I think they've got guts. They are prepared. They're prepared to get abuse on social media. They're prepared to have horrible things said to them by the kind of protesters we saw outside earlier. But they're showing courage and leadership in their communities. These folks are the people that will be on your ballot papers on the 7th of May. And I have to say that the old quote from years ago, that all it takes for evil to flourish is for good men to do nothing, could never have been truer in our country, our communities, our society than it is today. And all these amazing people have decided they're going to have a go. And I think a lot of them could get elected on May the 7th. Do you agree? So what really remains is for me to say to you, where's Ben? It's for me to say to you, great, to say to you, if they're prepared to stand up and be counted, I'm going to ask you, the audience, are you prepared, in whatever way it can be, to stand up and be counted, to do something to help save our once great country? Are you ready to make that commitment? I tell you what, if you're prepared to do your bit, stand up and say you're going to help us. Stand up and say you're going to support us. Stand up and say we'll fight for what is right and what is decent and what is real. Amazing. Well, that is our finale. Thank you very much indeed for coming, everybody.